Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure. This is Get Back to Work, a series in which I get back to work on simulators that I have played over the fullness of time. Why am I moving so slowly? Am I crouching or something? No, you just move slowly. Just feels like I'm moving very slowly. Oh well, evidently I am. We're in Derail Valley today, where I'm going to finish this run. My destination is just over the brow of this hill and around the corner a bit, and then I'll get lost while we try and figure out where I'm dropping these wagons. That'll be fun. Right, let's crank this on up and then we'll talk about the topic of the day, shall we? Do these need to be up or down? I think they need to be up, don't they? Yeah, I think they do. Right, then power it on. So far, so good. Units all connected. Right, let's have a look and see where we're going. Right, uncouple at... Hold on, what, where? Hold to harbour and town. Yes. And then we're going to E9I. 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 Okay. E, I imagine, is east. I can imagine it's many things. That's the throttle. Yeah, no, I wanted the reverser. There you go. That's it. Slap the reverser into what could arguably be called forwards. And brakes are all off. I mean, we're on a bit of a slope, so we should just start rolling. Maybe that's optimistic. All right, give it a little tickle of this, and we're away. Are we away though? All right, no. Right, let people know we're going, and we're going. All right, good. All right, that lives on too. Yeah, okay, we're in business. Right, today's request comes from Hannes, and Hannes wants me to talk about units of measurement. That was it. That's all it said. Just units of measurement. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can do units. Hold on, there's a junction coming up here, and I don't know which way I want to go. Right. Well, I want to go towards harbour and town. Maybe I need the big map for this. I think you probably do. All right, stick the brake on. Right, yeah, should have done that beforehand, but I didn't. So, what you going to do? Right, where are we? Right, we're here. I think we want to go left. What you need to do here, sunshine, well, stick this down so you can show the boys and girls at home what you're looking at. Alright, there you go, put it in there. Alright, and then we can zoom in, you see. So we're here, right? Blue arrow, that's us. We want to go left and into that lot, I suspect. And then just go find E. Would it not be... Crikey, what have I done there? I don't know. You've done something. I picked it up and it zoomed right in. Well, that's good anyway. Bring up the station map. It's rubbish. I can't ever be bothered to figure out how the station map actually functions. Right, goods factory in town. No. Where am I? We're at... uncouple at... You're not telling me anything useful. What's the next page? Previous page. Harbour and town. Thank you. Right. Sit. Come here. Harbour and town, please. Harbour and town. Harbour and... There's harbour. But it's not and town. And these are transfer tracks. Is harbour and town different to harbour? I don't know. Keep looking. Yeah. Military base, no. Are you looking through this as thoroughly as you might? No, I'm not. I think it's going to be harbour. Well, given on that's where we're heading, I think it probably is. But keep looking anyway, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, okay, it's harbour. Right, okay. Overview. None of those have an E. No. That's City Southwest. Oh, flapping it, wrong page. That has an E. Ah, good. Right, yeah, in that case I know where I'm going. We're going to turn left. We're going to go around the outside pivot and just stay on the outer track. Cool. Right, okay, yeah, we can do this. Right, give it a tickle of that, and then we'll talk about units of measurement. Now, of course, when we talk units of measurement, what we're fundamentally talking about is, that's my wallet, metric versus imperial, right? Aren't we? Isn't that what we're talking about? Come on, let's shake a leg here. That breaks off. That breaks off. There you go. Right, that's too much of a shake. Down the shake a little bit and make sure that this junction's taking us the right way, which it looks like it is. Left. And then round the outside of the left. Piece of cake. No problem at all. It's going to be easy. It's going to be a doddle. It's going to be a cakewalk. What now? Use a measurement. You're talking imperial versus metric, fundamentally. And I make no secret of the fact that I prefer metric. Why? Because metric is so very easy to understand. And it is so logical. It is a logical means of understanding stuff. It's the same as Fahrenheit versus centigrade. Centigrade is so easy to understand compared to Fahrenheit. Because you know that with centigrade, 0, water freezes. 100, water boils. Don't get started on Kelvin. You're just being smug for the sake of it. But centigrade over Fahrenheit just makes a heck of a lot of sense because we do use water for an awful lot of things. Boils at 100s, freezes at 0. The end. That's all you really need to know about the two of them. And that it starts getting a bit too hot when you're around 30. It's definitely a bit too hot when you're around 40. Yeah, you shouldn't be getting anywhere near 100. Given how much of humans are made up of water, boiling us is not advisable. Right, let's go and do a quick map check just to make sure that I am more or less doing what I expected. I am. Okay. Right, that's me wanted. Right, so that's temperature dealt with. Right, Fahrenheit, no. Okay, the end. That's the end of Fahrenheit. It's dealt with. Although I'll come back to it. But fundamentally it's dealt with. Right, we're still on the right track, and then we want E9, I believe. E9 in. Yeah. Now, if we talk about other units of measurement, right, is your kilograms and your meters and your centimeters and your millimeters and your and so forth. Also, very logical. A kilogram of water is 1 litre because of the way that works, and the official units of measure for all these things, the official measures for all these things, have got atomically weighted gubbins going on that are stored in special vaults to make sure that a kilometre, a kilometre obviously, but a litre and a kilogram and a centimetre and all that stuff, but they are officially recorded as being that amount. Now let's talk about why it is when me, a 49-year-old man, I was taught in school to use metric, and that would have been 40 plus years ago. Right, 40 years ago. And yet, this country still uses Imperial. Therein is a problem. And the reason that we use Imperial is not because people aren't taught aren't taught metric. Far from it. E9I is what we're looking for, which is going to be this one right here. Just make sure you're checking it correctly. There you go. There's E, there's 9, there's I. And it's this one. Okay. And now we backtrack and make sure all the points are set correctly. I don't want to be doing this in real time because that leads to disaster. Or rather, it leads to me having to reverse. That's my wallet. It's because the Hoofer Doofer has automatically switched to 1 now instead of 2 because of some magic science helmet nonsense. Apparently, magic science helmet people don't understand when your inventory, changes or what have you. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. We want everything to be taken as right. Yep. And the next one. I might actually try and figure out how to fill this full of fuel after I've done this. Right, and that one as well. There you go. Right. Any more for any more? One more. Okay, I think it's already set correctly. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. Put it away. No, you've called up the specialist disco counter thing, effort, malarkey, which I don't want. So why is it that we still use Imperial after all this time? I know how much I weigh in Imperial. I know how tall I am in Imperial, and I don't know the metric equivalent. I don't convert from one to the other. I only ever think of my weight and height in the sense of Imperial measurements, which makes absolutely no sense, given that I was taught to use metric and then had to learn Imperial for myself outside of regular education. And the reason for that is older people, and the power that older people have over the young. Now, this is rarely do I criticise, and it's incredibly obvious when I do. The people who make the rules are older, right? And therefore they're going to stick with rules that make the most sense for them, and that will be the familiar. Trying to learn new tricks is difficult. It's difficult to unlearn something and to try and get a better handle on things that are new knowledge rather than old. Technology works on this fashion a lot. Is that there are different ages of technology. You've got the people for whom that technology has always existed, the technology for whom it came, for people who it came along in their childhood, and then those for whom it came along in their adulthood. And the adopters tend to be those who have it come along in their childhood, or they've always known it. And that's kind of the evolution of technology. And the same is true of measurements, is that the stuff that you grow up thinking, it sits with you. But having drifted into Imperial because the people who decide what speed limits road signs should be will invariably be using the old system rather than the new. There is also, of course, the factor of if you want to change any of this, that there is a significant amount to spend in order to get it changed. Which is what makes stuff like, post Brexit in the UK, and that's a whole different kettle of fish, that one. But post Brexit in the UK, we're undoing a lot of the EU legislation that required things to be in metric rather than Imperial. We are deliberately going backwards. And you kind of go, doesn't that just say it all? Doesn't that just sum up everything beautifully? To go, yeah, no, we're going to deliberately regress. Now that we no longer have to follow your rules, stuff you and your rules. You don't want to be going backwards here, Chief. You want to be going forwards. Oh, okay, all right, I will do them. Crank it that way and then give it some of this. Just want to create a bit of separation between me and my train. There you go, that'll do. Right, and then brakes on. Right, and then turn her off. And then flickety flick flick. Grab your bill of lading, and that's my wallet, which is now on 3. A moment ago it was on 2. Now try and find a chuffing shed, and this always takes ages because it needs anything to kind of give you an indication of where it is. Now it's a generic looking building with a big aerial. That's the only thing I can tell you about it. If I wasn't so resistant about using the teleporter, it would be a lot quicker. But no, I'm not going to use the teleporter. Do you know why? Because my sense of movement is not restricted by wearing a plastic bucket with a couple of cables attached to it on my head. Right. What now? What are we talking about? Yeah, so there is a certain degree of I am familiar with this and do not wish to learn an alternate. And that's the norm, right? Is the no. The system I know works perfectly well. Why should I bother learning this new thing? And because you are the older generation and therefore you get to call all the shots, those are the shots that get called. So you end up in a situation where people are taught the superior method of doing things, and yet have to unlearn that and instead learn an archaic or arcane method of doing things. Now let's talk about Imperial. The only countries that still use Imperial, to my knowledge, are the UK and the United States. And here's a curiosity, and I'm not going to dwell on it. It's a curiosity. Is the United States don't half like to bang on about how independent they are, and yet they use a series of measurements called Imperial, which if you unpick that word, you kind of go, there's the building, look. You go, which empire did those measurements come from? And you kind of go, yeah, it's the empire that you bang on and on about having declared independence from. Not that independent, though. Hey, you've still got our medieval flipping measurements to contend with, and you seem perfectly happy to do so. I mean, that you're satisfied with your system for dates is frankly baffling. And again, that's just being stubborn because of, I want to give me the money, please. Give me the money. Complete! Ha 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 ha! Cash me. Right, put that in a wallet. Like that? No, that's the track switcher now. There's the wallet. 23 grand. I got paid. I actually managed to get myself paid properly. Cool. Good. Right. Now, fees. Yes. Insurance. I'm going to concentrate on this. Okay. Thank you. Insurance only needs me to pay 7.5 Gs to clear all the fees. Okay. Press print to get all the details. I will. All right. What if we cancel that? Licenses and stats. No, none of that is insurance. Okay, so go back into fees. Press print to get the details. Right. Now, how do I now pay for this with insurance? Chuck that on the floor. We don't need it. Get the wallet out. What number is it sitting under? Your guess is as good as mine. 2. Right. Okay. Pay it. Confirm. No, put the wallet away. Right, okay, yeah. Insert wallet to pay. Nothing. Okay, I will do. Go. Alright, and that one? Yeah. Insert wallet to pay that one. I will do, but it won't let me insert the wallet. I think that's a bug. Right? Yeah. Alright, confirm. Maybe you have to go backwards then forwards. Yeah. Insert wallet to... Yeah, and that, and no, put that away. Confirm. I've done it. Right, insurance click. I'm now buying new licenses. I don't really understand what happened there, but I got through it, and that's a good thing. Okay, yeah, fees, nothing. Licenses, yeah, speak to me. 20G for a logistical haul. Can't afford it. Can't afford any of this. 10,000 for extra train length. Not with this tiddly little motor that I've currently got going on. So basically what you're telling me is you can't do anything else. You've still got to stick doing the same stuff you have been doing so far. Alright. Okay, fine. Cool. Look at all these lovely jobs. What's this one? That's the one I've done. Alright, bin it. Yeah. Oh, weren't you going to look at putting some petrol in your train? Yeah, I was. Any idea where you left your train? This way, I guess. So it is out of convenience and familiarity that you end up doing the things the way they've always been done, rather than biting the bullet and migrating to and this isn't arguably better, this is definitively better way of doing things. In the early 1970s, before I was born, the UK switched up its currency. We switched from pounds, shillings, pence, and all of the associated gubbins that went with that, to using a metric system for our currency, which made just a heck of a lot more sense. And frankly, the rest of the world were all using metric-based currencies, by which I say metric, but base 10 based currencies by that point, which just made a heck of a lot more sense. And so we switched. And the amount of resistance there was to making this change towards something logical was enormous amongst the older generations. They saw no need to change. And yet, once the change is made, things are arguably better. And it unifies the rest of the planet. At some point, there'll be a conversation about whether we should switch the side of the road that we drive on, if we, as a species, live that long. And that's by no means certain. However, it's almost certainly going to happen, especially if we manage to form, I don't know, it'll be hover cars or some nonsense like that ends up it being logical that you don't switch the side of the road. Now, you've got to flip all of that on. How's the fuel tank looking? You filled it up because you paid the bills. Hey, I don't even need this then. Flip it back off. You might want to take that with you, though. Let's put that under 4. Is it under 4? No. Magic science helmet. Ridiculous. Yeah, so there's it's purely down to familiarity, and therefore, because the weight of wanting to stick with the existing means of doing things versus changing up to one that is more logical and better aligned with the rest of the planet it's in the hands of your oldest generations. And they're the ones who are least likely. Good. The oldest generations are the ones least likely to want to change, and the ones with the power to actually make that change happen, and therefore the change doesn't happen. So you end up stuck in the mud. And I decided, when I started consulting for a living, and I was doing 1,000 miles a week, on my consulting kind of route. I decided that I'll put my sat-nav in kilometres rather than miles. For a couple of reasons. Firstly, we should be doing things in metric. Okay. Secondly, I find meters easier to gauge than yards. The irony being that they are pretty much the same distance. And what else? So one reason is because you're smug. Yes. The second reason is because you're stupid. And then the subsequent reason is what? Oh, because it ticks down faster. And therefore, if it's 400 kilometres to go to get to your destination, you get through 400 kilometres way faster than you get through 300 miles. It's that purely psychological thing. It's total nonsense, of course. 1 mile being 1.6 kilometres. It just feels like you're getting somewhere a little bit quicker. It's not true. it just felt that way. And yet, I'd always describe the total distance that I was covering, because my car, being a UK model car that I was using, is it's got kilometre speeds on the speedometer, but it does stuff this. But it also it does the actual speed. The bigger numbers are in they're in miles. Right, this one, can I do it? No. Right, can I do this one? No. Right, can I do this one? No. Can I do this one? No. This one? No. This one? No. This one? All right. Okay. I'm in Colonel Failure. If you would like to, I think that one looks like the ticket. It's a very long way. Nah, it's fine. Yeah. If you like this kind of thing, this episode was brought to you by. You haven't validated it yet. All right. We'll leave it there. We'll stand over it so I know where I'm at for the next episode. You get to pick the game, you get to pick the topic that I talk about while I play that game, and this has been Derail Valley, brought to you by Hannes. And if you want one, wizio.com/Colonel_failure. I'll be back soon with a new one. That link is in the description, obviously. Next one will be along before you know it, because I've got plenty to get through, and I'm getting through them. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Cheerio.